listening to KFWB News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. Thank you so much for joining us. We come your way Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock, and we are so excited about being here. And it's a program that's designed to transform your mind and begin to encourage you and inspire you to pursue your greatness. That's right, your greatness. You have something special. You have greatness within you. But greatness is not your destiny. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make every day by putting yourself in a perpetual position of discomfort. Absolutely. Most people take their greatness to their graves with them because they don't want to be uncomfortable. They go to their graves in their danger zone, the comfort zone. You know, I don't know. Everybody knows about this by now. You've heard about it and you've seen it. The destruction of one of the most powerful earthquakes to ever hit Japan, 8.9. I was so panicked when I saw it on television this morning. I called my producer, I called my daughter, and I so frightened her. She started driving to Phoenix, Arizona. I said, leave me in Phoenix. The cab driver had convinced me that L.A. was going to be underwater. And so then I had to call her and stop her. If Ileana told me everything's going to be just fine, so you could come back now. But this has been very fascinating, and we really welcome you to join us in the conversation. I want to hear your story around this and how you respond to things. Matt Alt lives in Tokyo, and he's told CNN it was a beautiful day. It was sunny outside. He'd just come home from a little errand to the grocery store, and all of a sudden, bam! It just hit. He said his wife was the calm one. She told him to get down and to put your back on something and leave the windows and doors open in case a building shifts so you don't get trapped. It was absolutely unlike anything, he said, that he had ever experienced. 20-year-old Aurelia Verasta arrived in Tokyo Narita International Airport when the quake hit. Everyone looked around, she said, nervously. And she said she held on to the nearest pillow, and then people started talking about tsunamis. She said, I was able to access data on my smartphone and found out that 2 tsunamis had already hit Japan's coast. Robert Michael Poole in Japan told CNN that earthquakes are quite common in the country, but this one was different. He said people ran out into the streets, including himself, a reaction he had never seen before, and at that time there was a great unease with these constant aftershocks going on. There was so much going on in the streets after the shaking from the 8.9 quake stopped. Another disaster was brewing. Several miles off the coast of Japan, where the quake's epicenter was located, the seafloor moved and displaced thousands of tons of water, thereby creating a tsunami. This one, in particular, generated a series of waves that can travel up to 600 miles per hour. Now, living here in L.A., we're no strangers to disasters. Scientists are awaiting the inevitable big one to hit. But whether it's a natural disaster, a medical condition, losing your job, breaking up with your partner, or just another unforeseeable major change, when your life changes that immensely, that quickly, what do you do to cope? How do you handle these changes? That's what we want to know. When life just happens out of nowhere so quickly, what do you do? How do you handle it? That's what we want to hear today. The tools that you use to get a grip, to pull yourself together. It's easy to say when things go wrong, don't go with them. That's easy to say. It's easy to say judge not according to appearances, but what do you do when the appearances show up? Yeah. How do you handle it? Has anything happened to you? I'm sure it most certainly has. If you're close to 40 or between 40 and 60, I know you've experienced a lot. Stuff has happened to you or people you care about. I constantly say when you're approaching 40, life begins to intensify. And between 40 and 60, all hell breaks loose. Things happen to you and things happen to people that you care about. I want to hear from you right now. I want you to call me at 888-539-2980. What do you do when life happens to you out of nowhere? How do you handle it? How do you deal with it? How do you pull yourself together? Have you ever had a call? One phone call, ladies and gentlemen, can drop you to your knees. Have you ever had a call that so shocked you you had no words. I remember when I got up this morning and the cab driver, I got in the cab feeling calm, and the cab driver started telling me about what was happening on television. And when I looked and saw it, I just sat there with my mouth open and I said, oh my God, I've got to get in touch with my daughter and her mother, and I've got to get them out of L.A. I just panicked. I couldn't believe it, just to see the destruction of the water and what was going on in Japan. I was mesmerized. It looked like a science fiction movie or something. Have you ever been mesmerized before? Have you ever had something happen to you that you couldn't even say anything? All you could do for a moment is just stand there and stare and remember to breathe. To breathe. Want to know how you handle those situations, because life is full of them. Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering, that life is full of unavoidable suffering, that stuff's going to happen out of nowhere. And sometimes we do well and sometimes we don't. 888-539-2980. My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. We engage you in conversations about life and dealing with this thing called life. That's what we want you to join us in the conversation, and I want to hear your story at some point in time in your life. Something happened to you, caught you on the blind side. My favorite book says, think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. So stuff's going to happen to you. I don't care who you are. You could be a nice person, you could be a cute person, you can tithe, all that. Yeah, right. And life's going to happen to you. All you have to do is show up. How do you deal with it? How do you handle it? How do you pull yourself together? That's what we want to know. Want to hear your story on that. Inspire us today. The number 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. Dealing with the challenges of life. And let's get a good quote to go with this. Here's a quote. And this quote is by General George S. Patton. He said, accept the challenges so that you may feel the exhilaration of victory. Accept the challenges so that you may feel the exhilaration of victory. Don't run from it. Accept the challenges. Another one by Bernice Reagan Johnson. She said, life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They're supposed to help you discover who you are. Both of those are strong. The number to call. Want to hear your story. 539